So we don't get into these topics too often, but they do come up, and I think it's important to know that there are some tools available that many people may not be aware of. Today, I'm talking about roads. From the contractor side, what we often get are cross sections. Okay, we need to recreate what the engineer did, and we can either do that from the full plan set, create a corridor, create the templates, go through the whole process, or we can simply utilize the cross-section sheets that were given. Now, I have a set that came in a DWG format, so I'll go ahead and import those into Magnet Office with no conversion. I'm going to bring them in exactly as they are, bring in all points, lines. We'll bring the text box, everything in. Okay, and we see this is a very simple example. There's not a lot to this one, but it simply has my existing surface and my finished grade. If this had subgrades, the workflow would be the same, just a few more, steps that we would want to do. What we see right off is if I click on the existing surface, it's on its own layer. The finished grade is on its own layer. Okay, so this is just a DWG file with the cross sections. Now, before I can do this, I need the alignment. I need to match these sections to something. So again, if I have the plan set and I have all of the alignment data, I can create it. I can do an insert string, insert alignment. Depending on what I have, I can create the alignment. In my example, I have a land.xml file with the center line, so I'm going to use that. Before I do that, I'm going to save this view, my section view, and then I'll do the import and we'll grab that land.xml file. Okay, so there's my alignment land.xml. Do I want points? Nope, I do want the alignments though, and the only one I want that's in there is the main center line alignment. Okay, there's my alignment. Okay, again, this is just a simple example, but I'm going to go ahead and save this view. And the saving views allows me to flip back and forth between these easily. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this now is first I'm probably going to turn these elevation labels off. I really don't need them. We're going to go to the model tab. Okay, so this is going to be a site prep function, not going to be part of some of the other modules. This is site prep. So we're going to digitize the cross-section surface. This is why we needed the alignment. It has to know where to put these. Now, even though I know the scale on this is 20 and 10, because it's a CAD file, I'm unsure of how these were created. I'm going to specify this. Okay, so I'm going to pick the horizontal distances. I'm going to go from endpoint here to endpoint here and say, I don't know what that distance is, but it should be 20 feet. Same thing with my vertical. I'm going to pick a point here. I'm going to pick a point here and say, I don't know what that is, but it should be 5 feet vertically. The software will compute what the actual scale is based on those values that I gave it. Okay, now I need to establish the information for this. What are the surfaces that we're going to be doing? So I'm going to start with a design surface. I'm going to call it finished grade, and then I'm going to get the layer that data is on. Main Street surface is the layer that mine is on. I'm going to add another. I'm going to add the natural surface. I'm going to give it a surface name. And then the same thing, I'm going to pick the layer that's on. Now, again, if I had more surfaces here, okay, strata surfaces, subgrade surfaces, I could do all those. I could assign materials to those. So I could add as many of these surfaces as I have. Okay. My road starts at station 0 and goes to I'm going to round to 355, and I'm going to tell it that these are 20-foot section intervals. Okay, this is the default 20 feet. I can always add stations that are in here that aren't on that 20-foot increment. I'll go to the digitize menu. Okay, and I'm going to start with station 0, the reference elevation. So I'm going to pick the point here where 0 intersects elevation 573. So my reference elevation is 573, and I'm going to establish that 0 offset. Okay, now my selection cycling is on. I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to redo this. This time I'm going to get the intersection point. All right, so now we have the highlighted dot showing 0, 573, 0, 573. I can either pick the entities, I can extract the data or digitize it from a PDF. So maybe I don't have a CAD file. I'm going to go to the PDF and show it where this data is. Or since mine is layerized, I'm simply going to get it from the layers. I'm going to say digitize, and I'm going to pick the data that I want to be extracted. Okay, station 0 is done. We're going to advance to the next station, station 20. The reference elevation is again 573. I'll pick the new 0 offset here. We're still set to layers, and I'm going to window 573. Or I'm going to window around the data for section 20. I'll advance to 40. My elevation changes to 574. I'll pick the 0 offset, digitize, window around the data. That one's done. We advance to 60. The elevation changes to 576. Pick the 0 offset, digitize the data, and advance to the next. 579, 0 offset, digitize. Okay, so from there, it's just repeat till you get them all. Okay, so once these are all entered, I can see all the offset elevations, all of the information for the natural and design data. Okay, natural and design data is all there. Now I want to output this. Okay, so I'm going to start with the finished grade. That's the surface, the layer that the data is on. And I'm going to tell it to create a finished grade surface. I could tell it to create a road template, and I could also export this in other formats such as a TXT or a CSV. I'll change the surface to existing, natural grade, create that surface. So it's created the two surfaces from those cross sections. Okay, if I go to the DTM manager, I can change the color of the finished grade and I can see those. I could view those surfaces. Surface 3D viewer, existing finished. Okay, there's the data from the cross sections now as a surface. So from here, I could go to surface, compute volumes, compare the finished grade to the natural grade, and I can get the material quantities or the earthwork quantities, just comparing the surfaces. I could also go to the corridor menu to cross sections, create a new cross section, and then assign the surface to the type. So my finish grade becomes design, and I pick my alignment, and then I can see those cross sections. I can even get the volumes here. I could even take those and do section volumes and get a section report. Export these, create new sheets, do whatever I want at this point. So we started with just a DWG file with sections. We basically digitized that or extracted all of that CAD data into sections, and now we have data that's usable. So I can use the corridor cross sections with this. I could go into the design menu and use the cross section functions in design. But now I have data to check volumes, to check surfaces, to send out to the field, send out to machines, whatever I want to do at this point, all from those cross-section sheets. So this is an example of tools that are inside of Magnet Office that not everybody may be aware of, that are pretty powerful, pretty useful, and pretty intuitive once you get into them and push through. For more information on this workflow, or to look at other workflows available inside of Magnet Office, Magnet Field, and other Topcon products, please log on to your My Topcon now to take a look at the amazing content available to Topcon users today.